Hey everybody, Cliff Ravenscraft here with another live stream broadcasting all over the world, all over the internet. If you are watching me on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, all three of those channels, you will be able to interact and engage with me here live during the broadcast. Feel free to enter your comments and or questions and I will engage with you on today's topic. Now, let's just talk about what today's topic is. It is all about meditation, mastering your mind. In fact, I I'm it's funny that I am talking about meditation given the fact that this was scheduled several hours ago and I feel so rushed to get things started here right at 4 p.m. Eastern Time because I had actually said that this is when I was going to start it. But when I created the idea for today's live stream, I'm like, hey, babe, I said to my wife, when do you think we'll be back from our shopping excursions today? And she says, 3:30. And I'm like, great, I'll go ahead and set this thing up for 4 o'clock then. Well, we went and did our shopping and it was a little bit longer than normal. My daughter asked, hey, Dad, would you mind meeting me for lunch today? And we went out and had lunch, came back, and I went and shaved and all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get down here. I'm going to have about 15, 20 minutes, put things together. And here I am, last minute, and I don't have all of the assets of everything that I wanted to have all over the place. I do have this, though. Let me just share with you this right here. This is the topic today. Mastering the mind, the power of daily meditation. And if you'll bear with me, I'm going to share with you what prompted this earlier today. Yesterday, I created a live stream from the front seat of my car. I was sitting down at the park and I began to talk about my faith journey over the last several years. Well, an overview of my faith journey since I was a child, and talked about some of my most recent experiences and how things have taken a significant shift. If you want to call it a spiritual awakening or an enlightenment journey or whatever you want to call it, there's a unique situation and set of experiences, some things that are going on in my life that are incredibly powerful. I'm not trying to convince everyone else that they need to go and have this experience themselves, but I felt inspired to share my story. And this comment, I'm going to throw it on the screen, but it's just going to be right over top of my face because, well, I wasn't able to invest the time to get into Canva to put it where it needs to be. But let me put it right here over top of my face. So on YouTube, Melbourne's East, I believe it's Karen, she had stated that she would watch this after the live stream had ended. So she watched it at the replay, if you will. And she says, I find myself drawn to your continued evolution, your transparency. I've never been able to practice meditation. I always thought I needed to quiet my mind, and I just can't do that. Now, what really prompted me here, what started me down this path of wanting to create today's live stream is the fact that she says, I've never been able to practice meditation. So that statement, it's a pretty profound statement. And she says, I've always thought I need to quiet my mind. And I know exactly, I can resonate with that early statement in my journey of meditation. And then she says, I just can't do that. So, okay, I want to address this. I want to share my journey, my experience through meditation. So I'm not going to give a brief update or anything like that. If you want to see my spiritual journey, everything that I had shared in my last live stream, go to Facebook, LinkedIn, or my YouTube channel and look for the live stream that took place on Saturday, June 24th, 2023. It was just yesterday, right before this one. So, with that being said, when I had heard about meditation quite a bit throughout the last decade of my life. And I heard these people who were talking about conscious living, mindfulness, self-love, self-care. And it was almost as though, I mean, while I understood the words, I knew they were English words, but it was like somebody speaking a different language. What does it mean to be mindful? What does it mean to live consciously? What does it mean? Meditation. Isn't that Eastern philosophy that I should stay away from? And meditation, that maybe you're introducing yourself to all sorts of energy that's negative, and you should avoid it, and you should just only think of things the way that you've been taught to think about things from your upbringing, from your Christian fundamentalist evangelical doctrine indoctrinated and conditioned way of thinking and seeing the world. Stay away from that meditation stuff. Just pray. And so because of that, I never really investigated meditation. However, I shared yesterday that a few years ago, I read the book Autobiography of a Yogi. Sorry, I'm doing something on the side here. I read Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. And by the end of reading that book, I was like, wow, okay, meditation seems like it's a pretty integral practice for the spiritual journey. And I became convinced that Jesus also taught how to meditate. And so as a result of that, I began to take it seriously. So I started to say, okay, well, where do I begin? Now, because I was introduced to meditation through Yogananda, I looked to see what materials and training and teaching that he had. And he teaches this form of yoga, which yoga just means divine union or union with God. He says there are 7 different paths of yoga. And one of them is the Raha, or royal path to union with God. And it's through meditation. And he said that his guru, his teacher, taught him something called Kriya Yoga, which is a very specific type of meditation. So I began to say, okay, well, I wonder what he says about that. So I signed up for some lessons that he offers through his foundation that he set up before he passed. And so I began studying this, and it's a very rigid form of meditation. It's like, listen, let me tell you what we're going to do here. You're going to sit in the exact right posture, legs crossed. Your spine needs to be upright. You're going to keep your chin parallel to the floor. You're going to close your eyes, and you're going to point your attention up to the point between your eyebrows, the Christ consciousness center. And I just remember it's like, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? And I would follow some guided meditations. Now, I will tell you that I had some hesitation with all of this. So, for example, one of them was, let's start with a prayer. And it says, Holy Father, Divine Mother, 8, spiritual teachers, 8 gurus of the ages. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so outside of my comfort zone. This doesn't seem right. And I'm having resistant thought to this whole entire process. And by the way, let me just check to see what's going on here I'm going to continue this, and then I'll see if there's something in the chat for me to address in just a moment. So I'm having some resistant thought to this, but I'm committed to saying I may not agree with everything that Yogananda teaches or these people teach and all this other stuff. I just wonder if I can really experience this stuff, that the benefits of meditation that they're espousing. And I definitely desire to have more peace in my life. I desire to have some more calm. I desire to have a deep felt experience of oneness with God. This is something that I've had off and on at various different times in my life throughout my time on this planet as Cliff Ravenscraft. And so I want to know, is this something that I can have on demand, if you will? Is this something I can have as a routine part of my life? And that's, for me, what meditation became. It was a spiritual practice. Now, there's lots of different forms of meditation. Not everybody meditates for spiritual formation or spiritual growth. Some people meditate for just to calm their mind, to get their mind focused. There's a lot of different reasons why you might meditate, and there are a lot of different forms of meditation out there. And I started with this very detailed, rigid thing. And I will just tell you that I sat there and I'm evaluating as I'm doing these meditations. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? So when it comes to this idea, you're supposed to quiet your mind. I can resonate with the fact that I just couldn't get my mind to stop. I was just, am I doing this right? I must not be doing this right. Oh, wait a second. Am I having some sort of metaphysical experience right now? No, you're not having a metaphysical. Why am I sitting here? What's going on today? I wonder. Oh, you know what? After I finish this meditation, I think I'm going to do this. Oh, here's an idea. And so I would sit there and I tried meditation off and on over time. Now, I will say that it was in December of 2020, December 2nd, 2020, that I was introduced to an app. And for some reason, even though I went to start my timer for 45 minutes, it's not started. So let me just go here and just click this and start this for a 30-minute timer. And then we'll see if I can't just be reminded to stop at 4:45 because our family's going somewhere a little bit later this evening, which also was decided well after I scheduled this live stream today. But anyway, so I was introduced to this app called Insight Timer on December 2nd, 2020. InsightTimer.com. It is available on the web. It is available. There are things you can do on the web, but there is an app for the iPhone, or I'm pretty sure it would be on Android as well. It's absolutely free to use. There is a paid version that allows you to skip forward and do certain things and download meditations. Let me go into Insight Timer real quick. One of the things that I like about its Insight Timer is right now it shows a picture of the globe here, and it says there are 9,491 people in the app right now, either meditating or in the process of getting ready to meditate. But nearly, almost 10,000 people using the app right now. And there are millions of people around the world who use Insight Timer. I highly encourage this app. It's phenomenal. So, like I said, I started using this December 2nd, and I figure, okay, I'm going to start getting serious about this meditation practice thing, and I want to track to see how well I'm doing. Just because I like to track things. And what I found is that I did a meditation on December 2nd, and it looks like I tried 3 different meditations that morning. And I was using guided meditations. They're probably 5 to 10 minutes each. It looks like I used it on December 3rd, so that would be 3 days in a row. And then I stopped. So I did 3 days, or is that actually, no, I did 2 days of meditation in a row and then stopped. In fact, after December 3rd, I didn't come back in until December 9th. So a whole week without meditation after my first 2 days of playing around with meditation. And when I say playing around, testing it out, trying it out, seeing if I can't get this to work for me. But I went an entire week after having 2 really cool experiences trying it, and then nothing. So then after December 9th, I did on December 9th, let me just see if the time is below. So on December 9th, I did a 34-minute meditation. Now, if I sat there for 34 minutes, I can tell you that I had a great peaceful experience. Now, I know for a fact I wasn't experiencing the stillness of the mind at this point. I was not the master of my mind. My mind was the master of me. But even with that, I was able to slow down my thoughts. I was able to experience more calmness. I was still very much evaluating the process as I'm doing it, because that's just the habit. I had gone an entire lifetime with my mind running the show of my life. But then, so I had this 34-minute experience on December 9th, and then nothing for 10 days. I'm looking at this log. This is another thing I like about Insight Timer, is I'm able to export a text file that actually shows me every single meditation I've ever done. And so I see that after December 9th, the next one was on December 29th. I did two different meditations that day, one 27-minute and one 26-minute meditation. So about an hour of meditation on December 29th. And but there's 10 days between that 34-minute meditation and this 1 hour of meditation. Now, you would think that if I'm going to sit there in an hour of meditation, that must have been an incredibly powerful experience. And it was. But my whole issue here was that I still wasn't hooked. So after December 29th, the next one was on January 1st. So that would mean that the 30th, the 31st. So for 2 days, I skipped meditation. I didn't do it then. And then on January 1st, I probably said, you know what? I'm going to meditate every day. That's the kind of thing I might commit to doing at the beginning of a year, right? So January 1st, I did a 29-minute meditation. Yep. So 29-minute meditation on the 1st. I did a 1 hour and 14-minute meditation on the 2nd. Now, at this point, I am starting to, really get deeper into a meditative state. And I am beginning to start seeing the benefit of this. Now, if I'm in a meditation for an hour and 14 minutes, I might, throughout that hour and 14 minutes, be experiencing about 5 minutes of freedom from thought, if you will, the incessant narration in my head, in my mind. And I want to talk about there's a difference between stilling your thoughts and being aware. There is the mind, your physical mind that is processing, thinking, churning, but there is awareness, and there is two different things. And I've never been in an experience of meditation where I don't have awareness, but there have been times where I have awareness and I have no thought. But this wasn't in the first few weeks of my meditation by any stretch of the imagination. So again, on January 1st, I did a meditation. January 2nd, January 3rd, a 57-minute meditation. 3 days in a row, I'm rocking and rolling with this thing. January 4th, 57-minute meditation. Wow, this is awesome. January 5th. Oh my gosh, I am on a roll. It was a 14-minute meditation. It wasn't as much as before, but that's okay. Which, by the way, at the time, I was kind of like, wow, I was averaging about an hour a day, but today I only did 14 minutes. Looking back, 2020 vision, I see how much judgment I had about what I was doing, and I see how much I was oftentimes evaluating my success in meditation as if this was some sort of badge of honor or some sort of merit badge or some sort of, this is how I prove that I'm worthy or something of that nature. It's only in looking back that I see that was really what was happening. So much of that is not in a part of my life a majority of the time today, and we might get into that depending on how much I can include in this 45-minute live stream today. So we got to January 5th, and you would think after January 5th and having all of this success, I'm in it, right? No. January 6th, nothing. January 7th, nothing. I didn't do any more meditation until January 14th. So from the 5th through the 14th, no meditation in January 2021. But I did do a 30-minute meditation on January 14th. Then you would think, okay, well, I'm back in it, right? Well, I kind of broke my streak. That whole pattern of thinking and merit badging and streaks and just feeling good and getting the dopamine from having all that stuff. No, I waited until January 24th for the next meditation after the 14th. So another 10 days with no meditation. And then January 25th, I did 2 days of meditation in a row. Now, at this point, you think, okay, Cliff's going to get this right. He's going to and get it right, right? He's found this meditation. If you look at the amount of meditation I did in January, that first month, sure, I didn't do it every day, but still, we're talking probably about 6 hours worth of meditation, maybe a little bit more over the entire month. certainly I would have experienced, and I did experience good things. But you might think, okay, well, January 25th, I did a 57-minute meditation. But after that, guess when my next meditation session was? It wasn't in February. It was not in March. It was not in April. It wasn't in May. But my next meditation was not until June 7th. I must have read something that reminded me of just the power of meditation. And on June 7th, I sat down, I did a 30-minute meditation, and I'm pretty sure it was a pretty powerful experience at this point. At least when I do meditation, I am experiencing some level of benefit. Now, not to the fullest degree at this point yet. That comes months, and it comes a bit way on into the practice, for me anyway. However, I'm looking here, June 7th, then the next one, not until June 30th. So in the month of June, I did 2 days of meditation. One 30 minutes, one 29-minute session, one 35-minute session. That's all I did in the month of June of 2021. Then we get into July. I did 2 days of meditation in July. One of them was a 16-minute meditation. One was an hour and 43-minute meditation. Now, I will tell you this. Anytime I sit in meditation for more than 1 hour, I can tell you I had an incredibly profound experience. At this point in the game, still not at the level of what is possible for me and what I would eventually experience later on, but still, it was a powerful experience. You would think if I'm sitting for nearly 2 hours, an hour and 45 minutes or whatever, I'm certainly going to come back to this practice if it is so incredibly powerful. Well, if you guessed that I waited until October 3rd until my next meditation experience, that's what happened. And then on October 3rd, I did a 30-minute meditation. And you would think maybe Cliff's going to get into it now. No, it wasn't until November 3rd, a whole month later, that I did another 30-minute meditation. Then November 7th, then November 8th, then November 9th, then 10, 11, and 12, 13, and this might have been where it began. What, by the way? What might have began? Well, at some point, I finally found such an incredibly deep, profound experience in meditation that I knew for a fact I never wanted to live a day on this earth without experiencing it. And what I will share with you is this. Today, if you're able to see this, let's see if it will, if I can get up there closer, right there. 487 consecutive days. 487 consecutive days of meditation. Today was my 487th day in a row of meditation. And my total since that December 2020 date, 26,000 minutes in meditation. Now, I don't share that as some sort of merit badge or a badge of honor. Quite frankly, if my phone died and it was broken and I had to wait a couple of days and there was no way I could go in and track my meditation and I lose that streak, there's a part of me, it's called my ego. It is my personality. And there's a great deal of my personality that has been conditioned to really feel bad if I break this streak. But that's not what it's all about for me anymore. In fact, that's what meditation has done for me, has helped me wildly transform my understanding of who I am. It's through a lot of things, but meditation being a primary key component of experiencing firsthand what I've only read about in an incredibly large amount of books and in conversations that I've had with people from all over the world, from all different traditions, both religious, non-religious, spiritual. For me personally, I've come to the understanding and belief that I am not this person that you are perceiving potentially as Cliff Ravenscraft. This this physical body, my mind, and the persona of Cliff Ravenscraft is very much a part of me, but it is not me. It is just the tip of where I place my consciousness. So if you were to ask me, Cliff, well then if you're not Cliff Ravenscraft, if you're not that body, you're not that mind, you're not those thoughts, who are you? The best I would describe it today is I am a divine spiritual being having a human experience. And if there's one thing that I've come to really value, what really pushed me over the edge and made meditation work for me was when I stopped trying to get it right. When I stopped trying to judge myself about whether or not I'm doing enough, I'm doing it frequently enough, am I having the right experiences? Am I good enough? Am I keeping up all my other spiritual disciplines? I had to break up with all of these preconceived judgments about what success was for me. And I'm thrilled that I went through all of it. I'm thrilled that I pushed through. I'm thrilled that I didn't get consistent right out of the gate. I'm thrilled that I didn't find success in mastering my mind, bringing it to a level of stillness and being able to be in just what's called pure awareness of just being in this blissful state. I'm thrilled it didn't happen for me immediately because there was a lot that I had to let go of. There was a lot that I had to surrender. There is a lot that I had to unlearn, if you will. All right, so I'm going to stop for just a moment and see what all is happening here. We've got hi from Surrey in the UK. Hello, so glad you're here, to have you here. Should I go to LinkedIn? You're fine here, right here on YouTube, so thank you. Let's see here. Martin says, hello, Cliff. Martin, it's great to see you here. Nice. A live chat about meditation. I hope I can watch a replay later because I have something else to do now. Well, Martin, I hope that you're enjoying the replay. And then we've got, I'm like that about breaking the streak. Well, it's something that you can break up with. This is the cool thing. All right. With this all being said, I was going to do a bit of preparation. My hope was that I would have at least an hour and a half prior to this live stream to come here and share with you some things, but I didn't get a chance to do all of that. So I asked ChatGPT to give me a definition of meditation. I'm going to read this definition to you, and then I'm going to give you my commentary. So I said, can you give me a definition of meditation? It says, sure. Meditation can be defined as a set of techniques intended to heighten or enrich a state of awareness and focus. The biggest word that I want to give you right now is focus. That is the first thing. If you can sit in meditation, and I would encourage the Insight Timer app. It's incredibly powerful. There's other apps out there that are not free, but are really good. There's an app called Headspace, a lot of other guided meditation apps. And depending on your either spiritual background, your religious or faith background, chances are you'll find great meditations from your perspective, from your path of experience with God or divine or spirit or universe or source or all of this stuff. So wherever your background is, find something that resonates with you, something that you don't find a lot of resistance to, but find something that's meditative. And I encourage you to start with some guided meditations. And guided meditations almost always are going to start with you focusing on the breath. My favorite, one of the things I was about to say earlier, one of the things that really brought me over the edge and helped me calm down my thoughts about meditation was eventually I came across some meditations that would say, welcome to the meditation. I encourage you to find yourself in a comfortable position. If you're seated in an upright meditative posture, that's wonderful. If you're laying down, that's wonderful as well. Or if you happen to be in some other position, just make sure that you're in a place where you're able to relax. Now, and every time I found a guided meditation that did not suggest a very specific rigid posture, that always helped me ease my mind. It's like, oh, good. I don't have to worry about, am I 3 degrees off off aim or something of that nature. I loved ones where it says, okay, just close your eyes and don't worry about the direction that you're focused on. Just close your eyes and focus on your breath. Now, almost all of your meditations today, nearly all of them start with focusing on the breath. And I like the ones that started off with feel as the air comes into your nose, feel the coolness. Be aware, close your eyes and be aware of the coolness as you breathe in. And then as you breathe out, feel the warmth of the air coming out. And then, of course, the meditation would say, okay, I want you to feel the breath and be aware of the breath as it goes from your nose down into your lungs. Now, I want you to be aware how your chest is expanding and your belly is expanding and contracting with the breath. And what it's doing is it's taking you outside of the physical world around you, your 5 senses of everything there, and it's bringing your focused consciousness internally. And so all of a sudden you're actually going within and having a majority of your experience inside of yourself instead of outside of yourself. Now, there's a lot to be said with what that all starts and what it all means, but that's not the purpose of what I want to talk about today. But if you can actually just focus on your breath, and in fact, sometimes it might be helpful to either count your breath. And there's boxed breathing, for example. There's inhale to a count of 5, hold your breath for 5, and exhale for 5. And then just wait for a slight pause, and then inhale for 5 seconds, then hold for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds. And just do this, and just your eyes are closed and you're focused on this. The more you're focused and stay focused on this breath, the more you are actually not thinking about what happened yesterday, what happened today, what's going to happen after I finish this meditation, what's going to happen next week, what all is on my plate today. The whole idea is to free you from that narration that's going in your head. And if you are following a guided meditation where it's leading you, and another thing that was very helpful for me in the early days was when a meditation would say, if you find now, and it says, okay, now just focus on your breathing as you sit and meditate in silence. Just stay focused on the breath. And it might give you, let's just say 90 minutes to 3 minutes with no guidance during the narration. And then it comes back and I love the ones that it always say, hey, if you stay focused on the breath. Keep your awareness on the breath as it comes in, the rise of your belly and the fall of your belly. If you find your attention has wandered, don't judge it. Just be aware of it and bring your focus back to the breath. And it doesn't matter how many times you have to do that, but if you would just do that, it's perfectly fine. Just don't judge the fact that you lost your focus. Just bring it back as soon as you become aware of that it's happened. And that's where a guided meditation, even if it's a 15-minute guided meditation that reminds you every minute for 15 minutes to bring your focus back to your breath and to forget about the fact that it's done this. I loved the guided meditations. It says, if all of a sudden, as you're sitting there focusing on the breath, if a thought enters your mind, just be aware of it. See it as a cloud that's just entered into a blue sky and just watch it float away. And of course, your eyes are closed, so you're just mentally doing this. And what this is doing is and what I would encourage you to ask, if you actually get into a meditative practice and you try this and a thought comes into your mind, and let's just say you were focused on your breath. Let's just say you got about 25, 30 seconds where you were focused right there on your breath. And then all of a sudden a thought pops into your head and you get a reminder, that beautiful little nudge, that polite nudge that says, if you find that your mind has wandered, if you find that you've been a thought has captured your attention, just release it and let it float away. And if you're able to do that, I want you to ask yourself this question, and it's okay to ask yourself this question. Who is it that became aware of that thought? Who is it that let go of it? Who is that? It's incredibly powerful. All right. So there are so many other things that I will tell you about meditation. You could actually have what's called mindfulness meditation that is just meant to bring you some calm and some peace into your life. There is body scanning meditation. I really enjoy some meditations that start with body scanning. So body scanning is where I might get in, whether I'm seated or whether I'm laid back, it doesn't matter to me. But I love a good guided meditation that starts with body scan. So I'll close my eyes, I'm relaxed, I'm focused on my breathing. So it gets me internally focused on my breathing. And then it will say, just become aware. Is there any place in your body that feels tense? And as soon as you become aware of that tension, just let the tension go. Surrender it. Just relax the muscles. And then it will actually start with, okay, I want you to focus at the top of your forehead. Is there any sort of tension like in your forehead? Okay, let it go. Now think about your eyes. Is there anything, is there any muscles in your eyes that are constricted or tight? Just loosen up. Just let go of anything, any tension in your eyes, in your jaw, in your neck, in your shoulders, in your arms, in your hands. If there's any tension in your fingers, just let them go. If you happen to be sitting up, it's okay to hold yourself up, but if you notice there's any tension or any tightness, just let it relax. And then into your belly area, your chest area, is there any tightness there? If it is, just let it release. Release all of the tension. And then in your hips, your legs, and it goes all the way down to your knees, and it goes all the way down to your ankles and your feet and your toes. And then you now bring your focus back to your breath. And at some point, you're now completely, just absolutely released of all of that tension, and you're rested, and you're still aware. Now, if you were focused, if you literally focused on each of those body parts and you were absolutely aware of what your muscles were like before and after and all of this stuff, the more you focus on those things, you cannot focus on two things at the same time. You can't focus on that and a thought. If you are going through a body scan and you're being led through this, don't get upset. Just be aware that you have been distracted and come back to the guidance. And eventually what happens is that, especially when they start bringing your breath and you start breathing slower, you're giving your body the opportunity to put more oxygen into your blood, releasing carbon dioxide from tense muscles in your body. You're really replenishing all of this stuff. And the more you do this, the slower you bring down your breath, the slower your heart starts beating. And all of a sudden, just everything inside of you begins to slow down. Now, it's not required, but I've learned over time that some of the best meditative experiences can happen when you haven't just recently had maybe a big, huge, gigantic cup of caffeine. If it helps if you haven't just recently had a meal that's being digested, slowing everything down would actually cause your body to slow down the digestion of your food. So you may want to wait until after you meditate to eat, or if you have eaten recently, just know that your body may not slow down to the levels that it could otherwise if you had not just eaten, if your food was completely digested. So there's that. But anyway, so just imagine just the peace, the calm, and there are other forms of meditation. One of the earliest guided meditations that really opened up a whole new world for me was Carl Jung's, what he called active meditation or active imagination. And if you just do a YouTube search, or actually if you do a Insight Timer search for active imagination, I'm pretty sure if I go in here, I can pull it up and tell you which one I really enjoy. Active imagination. Imagination. Hit that. Hit tracks. And it's Carl Jung, Active Imagination, and it is by Tess Callahan. So it looks like this. Tess Callahan, Carl Jung, Jung, Active Imagination. Now that, the very first time I ever did that, by the way, the very first time I did Carl Jung Active Imagination, I want to let you know, I was probably a good year and a half into a daily meditation practice at this point. So I had already learned how to completely still my mind. Okay, so I need to set this for 5 minutes. My timer now. Bear with me. I'm going to hit stop. And we will set this for 5 minutes and hit start. And then I'm going to end this live stream, even though I guess technically it should be 4 minutes now. So, active imagination was amazing. Some other meditations. So one of the things that I eventually began to do was playing around with just silent meditation. There are times when I will meditate for different reasons, for different purposes. Sometimes I have a problem or an issue or a circumstance and I'm looking for a solution to. And one of the things that I'll do is I will go into a silent meditation, and then I've learned to still my mind. I can guide myself through a breath exercise or exercises. I could bring myself through a body scan. I can get into a relaxed, deep, meditative state, an altered state of consciousness, and I can drop all the way into what's called theta brainwave state. And I could, if I want to, go all the way into delta, but when I'm looking to solve a problem, I typically get right into a theta brainwave state. And this is where I'm not looking to eliminate thought. Now, I do look to eliminate thought in the early stages of meditation. I tried to create some distance between my ego mind, that is the personality and the perceptions of all of these things, and I try to get into what's called the universal mind, or the Christ consciousness is what I would consider it from my faith background. So or the mind of Christ. So, and it's called a number of different things by a number of different people from a number of different spiritual paths, and not even spiritual paths. So with that being said, I try to find my break from my narrator in my head mind and then my awareness mind. There is this being aware. There is this communication. And in that state, I'm able to say, hey, now that I'm here, I am aware that my self in the physical space, Cliff Ravenscraft, this part of me is experiencing this issue, and it's been perceived in this way. And prior to this meditation, I am aware that it's released chemicals that have produced a feeling of anxiety inside of my body. And so what I am looking for is this desired outcome. In this space, I see myself finding this solution. I see myself experiencing this on the other side. Either now or as I leave this place of meditation, I will be divinely guided. I will be inspired. The right thoughts, the right people, the right situations, the right circumstances will be brought along my path. I am going to listen now to hear if there's anything that I need to carry with me from this meditation. And I'll just sit and listen. And typically, sometimes thoughts will come in, but they're not thoughts that are the rehashed thoughts of everything I've learned in the past and what I believe and all this other stuff, but instead they are inspiration. It is it's the Spirit of God breathing in insight. And I leave from meditation oftentimes with those just knowing exactly what to go do next. Or it doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes I just leave with a sense of, you'll know when you come across it what to do. Follow your energy, follow your guidance, just know. And I leave with calm and I leave with peace. These are some of the things that I'm able to experience with meditation today. Now, I share all of this because I've never been able to practice meditation. You heard in this video, and what I wanted to share with you, my first start, the first few months of meditation, like for 9 months of meditation, very spotty, hit or miss, wasn't really great at it. Also, just like what was shared, I always thought I needed to quiet my mind. I always thought I needed to sit in a certain posture. And by the way, today I do some of those meditations where I sit in very certain postures. I do very specific breath exercises, and I go for very different experiences and different things that I do. There's a lot to explore in the world of meditation. But what I want to share with you is that if you are willing to believe in the power that meditation can bring into your life, I promise you, you can master your mind. But one of the things I loved, and I loved the way this comment came in. I find myself drawn to your continued evolution and your transparency. So I'm thrilled that you already resonate with how I share my own experiences. And I love that you said, I haven't been able to practice meditation. And it is called a meditation practice. And anything that you ever want to get good at does sometimes require practice, lots of practice. And it has for me. But I will tell you, I'm not suggesting that you should meditate every day. But I can tell you right now, at this point, after 487 days straight of meditation, not as a badge of honor, not as a merit, I'm no more worthy than anyone else. Why do I meditate? Why have I meditated every single day for 487 days straight? It's because I have learned to master my mind. I have learned to quiet my mind. I have learned how to tap in to a higher level of consciousness that is beyond my ego mind. I've learned how to experience what's called the seat of awareness. I'm able to put some distance between myself and my emotions. Not necessarily that I'm looking to try to avoid having emotions. Emotions are there for a powerful reason, and I appreciate all that this life has to offer in experience. But I am not my emotions. I am not my mind. I am not my thoughts. I am not my body. And I'm not my ego. I am the one who is aware of all of those. And I discovered that as an experience through my daily practice of meditation. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, I encourage you to take everything you do to the next level. Bye-bye.